I'm 15 and pregnant. Can I refuse my mother-in-law rights to see my child? She disrespects me, pregnant soon to be. I am only 15. My boyfriend, her son, is 16. To help understand what kind of mother she is, the first time my boyfriend welcomed her back into his life after years, she was supposed to pick him up from school. She called him unexpectedly as school was over, telling me not to get on the bus and that she'd pick me up. I waited hours. She never came. She continues to prove her incapability to be a crutch for him, as she is never on time. She dropped me and my boyfriend off at a lake and said she'd be back in an hour. 3 hours later we call her, and she tells us we are rushing her, and throws a fit. She is friends with a man who recorded me and my boyfriend and herself naked in the bathroom, either changing/using the toilet/showering. She said she was scared that he was going to punch her, but continues to buddy-buddy with him as if they were childhood best friends. In reality, he is only her domestically abusive ex-boyfriend's brother who is obsessed and desires more than a friendship with her, which she claims she will never see him that way. Yet it seems as if she leads him on with the excuse of, "I have a flirty personality." The man was drunk one night and screamed at me that I asked for too much of my boyfriend's mother, when all I asked was to get my laptop from my house. 10-minute drive, making me cry. I have PTSD and have had my father yell in my face and put his hands on me. His mother stayed quiet and allowed this to happen. Then after the man left, she sided with us, saying he was crazy and had anger issues, but never brought it up to him, taking his side to his face. One morning, I woke up really hungry. I hadn't eaten the night before or the current morning whatsoever because we are low on money. His mother had $100 worth of food stamps. When I went to ask if I could get a $3 salad from Casey's, his mother yelled at me not to tell her what to do with her money. She put her hands on me, threatened to call the cops, etc. There's much more, but that's a lot to get into. These are just some random examples. I decided enough was enough and stress was bad for my baby. Reached out on Insta. It went something like this. His mom: "You want to talk? We can talk in person. I'm not about to sit here and text, cause someone will take it the wrong way. I'm getting ready for work anywho." Me: "I do not want to talk to you in person. What I have won't be misinterpreted. I've tried talking to you in person. You catch an attitude if I'm not picky with my words, and I tend to match energy. I can't deal with stress and yelling. You may not care, considering when I reminded you I am pregnant last time your response was so, but I care about my baby and I take into mind what my emotions would cause upon my child." His mom: "I won't sit back and be disrespected over and over again by a child. You are very manipulative with my child, and what you won't do is use that baby as leverage to hold over somebody's head. I'm getting ready for work now." Me: "You call me manipulative, yet you screamed and cried to your child in the same hour. You don't want to be disrespected?" Me either. Respect is earned. You can claim I use the baby as leverage, but every statement I make before bringing up I'm pregnant is valid. Example: "I have to eat. I am pregnant." "Why are you yelling? I am pregnant," etc. Try again. "Sure, call me a child. If that's the case, you're the adult. Act like it." Replying to his mom's message. Her message: "I'm getting ready for work now. And this means nothing to me. You say this, and when you come back it's a roulette of what's Chelsea going to waste her money on this time? Will it be weed and alcohol? Will it be gambling? Oh, or will it be giving money to her ex-husband? Find out next episode." While you're busy wasting thousands, I managed to live off of $500 a month, only spending it on food and your son, like you should be doing. Give me a reason to respect you and I will. His mom: "Bye, kid." Me: "Thanks for proving my point. No, you are not welcomed in my baby's life." Slightly smiling face: "You are immature and a narcissist." His mom: "And you won't and can't stop me, silly girl." Me: "I can. You have no right to tell me what I can and can't do with my child. If I do not want you seeing my child, you will not see him or her, period. I know my rights. Minor or not, as a parent, I will not be obligated to allow you visits into my child's life if you are being a problem." His mom: "We will see. I'm done with your childish person." Me: "Sure. I am childish. We sure will see. As far as my kid will know, you died before he was born. Learn respect. Not everything is given to you." His mom: You're done treating my child the way you do him also. Me. BF name. Loves me. I love him. Our future as a family will only grow without you in the picture. Continue to prove my point. He waited all night for you to come home. I stayed up texting him till he fell asleep. He told me he couldn't even get through to you. His mom. My dad was a cop and my uncle is a judge. I don't care what Google says. LOL. Me. LOL, and my dad's the CEO of Home Depot. Doesn't matter. Let's go to court about this. His mom. I don't have time to entertain your bullshit. Go watch TV or something. Me. You entertain my bullshit. You're a 33-year-old crybaby. Now to the next story, story 2. You will decorate your apartment how I want it to be. My mom is a bit of a narcissist. At first, she appears to be perfectly normal, until you get to know or live with her, which is why she can't seem to keep any friends or even her own children in contact with her. I have gone no contact as of 2023. After having enough of living with her entitlement and narcissism, I moved out between 19 and 20 years old, which is a bit uncommon since rent has skyrocketed in the area. I managed how I could with a roommate who had a well-paying job and my own job. She paid for none of my living expenses. We did everything on our own. Despite that, she's always tried to control every aspect of my life, and her continuing to do that is why I chose to go no contact. I only realized that was an option through therapy and a bunch of supportive friends a few years later. Before that time, I was still listening to her, and she was able to guilt me into a lot of things I didn't want. When I moved out, I was striving to decorate my new apartment in any way I saw fit. I had so many ideas. I immediately hung up all the posters I had in my room in the hallway. The walls had a few cracks and I wanted to cover them. We used red and blue thumbtacks. We didn't have a kitchen table yet, but we never ate at the table anyways. I wanted something either really small so that it wouldn't take up space, or something multifunctional. We ended up looking for a pool table with a solid cover over the top so that we could put a vinyl tablecloth over it to protect it from stains. My dad loved the idea. My mom, not so much. She hated how I decorated my new apartment. She claimed it looked childish with my fairy lights across the ceiling. Dad thought it looked like a bachelor pad and had no issue with it. Gotta love Dad. She kept making comments about how I needed to take down the posters and get paintings I didn't like or need. She kept telling me I needed to paint something, I paint, and have it framed for the hallway. Every single time I visited, or came home for more of my things. It was a similar conversation each time of how she thought my apartment was ugly, how she would have never done it that way, how she needed to come in and fix it, how no adult would ever chose to have it like that. She was wanting me to entirely redecorate my entire apartment, which would have costed hundreds of dollars to hire a painter or buy stuff I didn't need from Goodwill. I kept trying to gently tell her that I liked how my apartment looked and that I was an adult who could make their own choices. We hadn't moved all of my things inside the apartment yet. It was really horrible how many mean comments she was making on how I had no taste, how I needed to take everything down and start over, how her house looked so much better. For the most part, one had ignored it. I was very much used to her hating everything about what I did. Then she stopped making those comments and started to take me to yard sales in hopes of finding something I needed. It was a plot of her own, of course. She found a kitchen table and chairs that she fell in love with. I didn't want them. I was looking for a pool table. She bought them all, and when Dad told her she wasn't getting rid of his kitchen table, she gifted them to me. I was raised to always accept gifts she gave me, or she would raise absolute hell. She would make it her mission to make me feel guilty and like the worst person in the world if I didn't appear to like her gifts. There have been times she returned some of my Christmas presents because I didn't have the correct reaction to them. If I didn't have a huge smile on my face and enthusiastically thanking her for what she had gotten me, it would disappear from my present pile and I'd never see it again. There were other times she told my sibling to steal it from me, and I would never get the chance to wear the shirt, play with the toy, etc. just because I didn't act eternally grateful or put on a huge show of gratitude to make her have any semblance of self-esteem. She thought she was entitled to control my reaction to her giving me a gift. Other times, She thought she was entitled to other people's gifts and steal my dad's, or my siblings' presents because she thought she looked better in them or just simply wanted them. I was never allowed to own a console because she believed I would spend less time with her. In reality, I found other ways to not spend time with her that wasn't technology. She just didn't want to give me something I'd used to ignore her with. I ended up saving every piece of birthday money to buy myself a laptop at 16. With no help from her because she would often tell people at my birthday parties to not gift me money, claiming I'd spend it all. When each person approached me about what I wanted for my birthday and teased me about not being good with money, I'd tell them my plans and show them my stash of money I'd saved thus far. Of course, she took to stealing my money on the occasion because she didn't want me to have independence or a way to ignore her. I was wanting to save up for a car or a computer, something I'd need when I was an adult. I would keep a record of my money in a little notebook which detailed the number of bills, coins, and amount, which is how I found out she was stealing my money. Dad made her feel so bad. She stopped doing it. Dad often put a stop to things like that. But he couldn't mediate everything due to working all the time. This is just a few reasons why I had to be very careful of the gifts she gave me, and the entire reason I begrudgingly accepted the gift of the kitchen table. Otherwise, she'd tell the entire extended family that I was on drugs, and that I needed to come back home and attempt to get me in a place where she could control me. That kitchen table ended up being very abused when I adopted a stray cat who didn't know where the litter box was. She figured it out after peeing on the table a few times. I was never more proud. The table and chairs ended up in the dumpster when I moved. Most of the chairs had broken because of the climate and would not be incompatible with each other. As for the posters, I did not replace them with paintings. They stayed where I put them until I moved to another state. The fairy lights did not last because she would come visit and secretly cut them with scissors. I gave up on replacing them. I didn't realize she was doing it until years later when she admitted to it. I have never felt more free after buying my own home and decorating it with posters, multicolored thumbtacks, and Christmas lights bought on sale. They really aid the kids in finding the bathroom in the dark, and the teens love the Star Wars posters. I'm planning on hanging up some different ones soon. Hope you like Mom. Now, third story. Should I stand up against my narcissistic dad? Only this year have I finally realized that my father is actually incredibly narcissistic and also emotionally neglectful. I always used to think that him screaming at me, threatening to hurt me, and actually hurting me is what he described as disciplining me. But over the course of the past year, I began to see the real fucking monster that he is. To give you guys an idea of how he is a narcissist, literally an hour ago he was in the backyard and then started banging on the back door because it was locked and he needed to come inside. There are 2 back doors in my home. The other one I'm pretty sure was unlocked just fine. As he was banging on the door, I was just laying down in my bed and my sister was in the shower. I was alarmed by all the banging on the door, and because I was laying in my bed, it took me some time to get dressed and then get to the door. When I got to the door and finally opened it, he told me to get me and my sister outside immediately and pluck the grass growing in the flower beds. He was serious about this too. He literally forced my sister out of the shower to go do this. I have a good feeling he was probably completely aware of the other door being probably unlocked. He just wanted to make it look like he had a reason to be mad at me and my sister, which I don't think the door being locked is a probable cause to be mad at us. I think this whole ordeal was done just so that he could make us feel guilty for no reason at all. And I don't even understand why he did this. Is it because me and my sister were not outside helping him with gardening, if that's even what he was doing, despite him never announcing that he was doing it and that he needed help with it? Or is it simply because he wanted to make me and my sister feel guilty for not immediately tending to his needs? I'll never know, and I also don't care to know because I'm tired of always trying to figure out what I did wrong. On the emotionally neglectful side, he either doesn't notice or doesn't care about my feelings. I remember having a conversation about how I've been feeling severely depressed, and he just turned it into a conversation about himself. And I've had this conversation with him more than once, and each time the outcome was the same. There was one time where he offered to take me to a therapist, but it didn't seem genuine, so I didn't accept it. though I feel I should have. In the not noticing category, he can visibly tell that I am either pissed off, exhausted, or severely depressed, yet he still treats the way he always would. An example of this is that he always forces me to go to this wrestling called jiu-jitsu, which I was unwillingly forced into. Now I don't know which one it is, but he either doesn't care or doesn't notice, because I can be visibly exhausted to the point that I look like a zombie and still be forced to go. I've told him countless times that I do not like jiu-jitsu and would prefer to do a different sport, but each time it would just be met with, "It's not up to you." I understand that this is just the clouds above the iceberg of abuse, but it really hurts to be alive and knowing that my own father doesn't care about me and just uses me so that his home could be clean. And this doesn't even just apply to my father. Pretty much my whole family is like this except for my aunt and cousin. I've been noticing that as my sister gets older, she begins to behave more and more like my father, becoming obsessive with cleanliness and perfection. I tried many times to explain to her that our father doesn't really care about us and just exploits us so that his house could be clean and in order. She refuses to accept it every time and just calls me crazy or tries to get away. I could go on about all the bad things my father's done to me, but that would make this post 30 times longer. If my own father can't love me, I don't think anyone can. I have a good feeling I'll die alone. And that thought terrifies me because I know it's probably going to be truth. Oh yeah, did I mention I'm 14? Now to the last story. My entitled mom expects me to spend my money on my step-sibling. Now for context, I, 24M, am the oldest of 7 siblings. My mom, 42F, just announced that she is pregnant with her affair, now husband's, baby. Also, I have a well-paying job, no kids, and live with my BF who also has a well-paying job. I'm not rich, but I do have so disposable income. Because of this, I like to spend all lot of it on the 3 oldest of my younger siblings, 18F, 17F, and 14M. Throughout the story, I will just call them siblings 1, 2, and 3 respectively. I will admit that I pamper them more than my other siblings. My mom has complained about this before, but I gave her my reasons for it. And also it's my money, so I can do WDF I want, lol. This will all get relevant later. So anyway, my BF and I had been planning a summer trip to Europe, and I wanted to bring siblings 1, 2, 3. I told them about the trip, and they were OFC super excited. I also wanted to make it very special for my oldest sibling because she recently graduated HS and is now attending a super good uni, so I told her that she can bring a friend. The trip is in 3 days, but we plan to pick up my siblings plus her friend today, so we can all go to my boyfriend's mother's birthday party plus celebrate all my siblings' recent accomplishments. Anyway, I went to my mother's husband's house a couple of hours ago to pick up my siblings, and my stepsister, 15F, was there. Now for more context, my mom got remarried like not even a month ago, so I've only ever interacted with this girl like a total of 8 times. Anyway, here is the dialogue to what happened. M being my mom, SS being stepsister, and S1, S2, S3 being my siblings. As we are leaving, SS, when are you guys coming back and why do you have so many bags? S1, 2 weeks, we are going on a trip. SS, really, to where? S1, Europe. SS, FR, can I go? Me, I'm sorry. The trip was planned months ago. It is too last minute. Why can't you take her? Your flight doesn't leave for another 3 days. You can get another ticket. Me, it way too last minute to add on an extra person. You have 3 days. Can't you buy another ticket? Me, it took my months to plan this. Adding another plane ticket and hotel room is going to be much more expensive now. If you have money to bring S1's friend, why can't you bring your sister? SS, wait, your friend is going? S1, yes. SS, why can't I go then? Me, sorry SS, I planned for this trip before my mom even married your dad. SS starts crying for no fing reason. Mom, see, you made her cry. Can't you just bring her? Why can't she go instead of S1's friend? Me, Mom, this is an early birthday gift / congrats on getting into a T20 present for S1. I'm not going to cancel on her friend. So? You need to put family first. ADP, I got really angry at my mom because she just put me on the spot and blamed me for making SS cry. Me, I barely know SS and she's barely even family to me. If anything, S1's friend is more family to me than her. Also, it's my money and I don't have to bring a minor IDEC on trip across the world. And then starts crying and pulls the "how can you stress me out like this, I'm pregnant" card. I also switched to my native tongue because I felt bad about what I said in front of SS and don't want her to hear the other stuff I have to say. Me, I honestly don't give two spoolshits about you being pregnant when you shouldn't even be pregnant at f***ing 42. You need to treat all your siblings the same, and it's unfair to single SS out. S1, S2, S3 don't deserve more than your other siblings, and SS. Me, SS wouldn't have even felt singled out if you hadn't made it such a big deal. Also, IS1-3 are all fully related to me, and they have been in my life for 14 plus years. I just met SS a month ago and am not even related to her. IOFC love my other siblings, but maybe I wouldn't have to spend money on them if you didn't have 100 other f***ing kids. S1, S2, S3 do deserve a lot more because they have helped me raise our other younger siblings. Something you couldn't do because you were too busy having more kids and arguing with dad. ADP, I just left with my siblings. We kept arguing about the same stuff. The whole drive to S1's friend's house, my mom was calling and texting me non-stop. When we finally got to my BF's mom's house, I called her back and she started yelling at me saying that she is going to tell the police I kidnapped her kids. I shut her up by saying I have text proof of her agreeing to let S2 and S3 on the trip, and that if she even tries to escalate this further, I will go to the cops with all the neglectful things she has done to her kids. I have proof of most of these too.